All right. So if you're joining me, thank you. I'm going to send this out real quick to the different people that could be watching it, should be watching it. So just give me 1 second here. Let me mute this real quick. Okay. Okay, cool. All right. And if you are watching this too, feel free to huh, watch that after. Yeah, we're gonna start in a second here. I apologize. And feel free to if you'd like, jump on the chat too. Um, I will be trying to monitor it. If you have any questions, I'll be trying to monitor it. If I could get it up, I'm having an error load thing come up real quick. So let me see. Huh. I've never seen that happen before. All right, I'm having a problem with the chat for some reason. And it's not coming up on my computer neither. So I don't know why that's happening, but I'm having an issue with the chat. So what I plan on doing, and look, like we can just do that part after. But what I plan on doing was, if you had questions, then you could just throw them down in the chat, and then we can figure it out from there. I'm going to do like a question answer kind of thing at 7:30 tonight for anybody that wants to jump on Zoom. So we can just ask the questions there. But if you have any questions now, feel free to text me throughout. Okay, so I'm not going to put my number up on here because if somebody happens to see it online or something like that, I don't really want to have my phone number out there. But if you should have my phone number, right? You should all have my phone number. So just text me if you have any questions for this right now. All right, so you're looking at the new call system now. Admittedly, I read through this once or twice, but I did not read through it completely. So we're going to go through that. Let me just make sure I have the right thing. Okay. So the reason why we're doing this, the reason why we started to have a little bit of an issue with calling in, and I think that we all experience this. I think that we've all seen this, whether it's an issue, look, whether it's an issue with the call center or it's an issue with us. Understand the frustration from the call center part too. Look, I understand the reason why we've adapted certain things and why I said, yeah, look, you could just set it up yourself, or you can do something other than the system that we had, which I think could be effective and could work, is because it's because we ran into issues with the call center. We call in, we're talking on the phone for 9 minutes or something like that, and we can't do that. When we're out at events, we cannot do that, and we know this. We know that can't happen, and so we've come up with systems to try to fix it. But in the process, it's been very difficult to communicate. Everybody in the call center has to know exactly what's going on all the time. All of our people have to know exactly what's going on all the time. And the issue that happens is that one person fails to communicate that, or one person does something differently, and it screws everything up. And so this system now, this is a system created by the call center. We talked about it first in one up, but it's created by the call center managers. And so the idea here is that the reason why I think it's a good idea is because it makes it quicker for us, but it also holds them accountable to it too. If they don't stick with it, that's kind of on them. I mean, if we don't stick with it, that's on us too. But it's not created by us. There can't really be any complaints about it from their standpoint. I don't really care how we do it as long as we get the leads in there. Right? It does not matter to me at all what system we use, as long as it's easier for you guys and the leads get in there in an effective manner. So let's kind of read through this together, and then I'm going to explain to you guys what's up. So all right, during office hours. Okay, now I'll get out the office hours to all of you, but it's I'll tell you right now too. It's on Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. Okay, Monday through Friday 9 to 5, Saturday 9 to 3. Okay, and Sunday 10 to 3, or 10 to 2 rather. Sunday 10 to 2. Okay, those are the office hours. So most of our hours are going to fall in between those office hours. The majority of them are. Okay, we'll go through what we do after office hours as well. But during office hours, step one, events reps call into call center, tell the person who answers the phone who they are, what event or retail location they're at, and whether they're calling in a lead or a callback. we shouldn't really be. I mean, we can call in callbacks if we want to. I don't think we really need to call in all callbacks. Those can get entered in the system later. Maybe we're calling in callbacks now, and I think that might be the reason why this is being put there. If it's a callback that's not an immediate callback, then we should be just calling it in later, or having it entered in the system later by myself or Michelle or Jess, someone else that can enter those callbacks. If we're not at a busy show and you want to call your callback in, then fine. But this has been an issue that we've had ongoing. I constantly am getting text messages from the call center, and I understand why. I mean, they're getting incomplete or inaccurate information. We're having people call in. They'll say their first name. They won't say their last name. They won't say the event that they're at, or they'll misuse the event. They'll say I'm at BG's, but they don't say the BG's location. They say I'm at BG's in Jonestown. Or they'll say I'm in Jonestown, but they won't say BG's location. So it's important that we say clearly the location. If we are at the Bluebird Avenue or Lingelstown, True or Ace Hardware, then we should be saying we are at the Bluebird Avenue, Lingelstown, Ace Hardware. Okay. If we are at 29th Street, True Value, we should be saying we are at the True Value on 29th Street. Okay. Make sure that you say clearly the event that you're at, okay, in your name as well. This is Paul Duffy. I'm here at the 29th Street True Value, okay, very clearly, all right? Don't say, and I'm calling in a lead, okay? Say, I'm here with Mr. Jones. You don't say I'm calling in a lead right now. I mean, you don't want to call a customer a lead, okay? And you don't, if it's a callback, fine. You can say I'm calling to call in a callback, or whatever. But if you're with a customer, don't call them a lead. Just move forward with the appointment, okay? Step 2, give the call center rep all the lead information, such as names, address, phone number of or window information, including number of windows, window problems, so on and so forth. And make sure that there's a cell phone number for an immediate callback. Okay, now, look, it's like 1 out of 100 people don't have a cell phone. Literally, I was actually looking at these statistics last night. 80% of people above the age of 65 have a cell phone of some sort, okay? So everybody has a cell phone. So the whole idea that this person doesn't have a cell phone, if someone tells you they don't have a cell phone, it's because they don't want to set up an appointment. Okay, we need the cell phone number. And if we're asking for that first, then we're going to get the cell phone number. So that's all about asking the right way, which we'll go over in a second. But get the cell phone number and make sure that you tell the call center, this is the cell phone number. The phone number you're going to call, the cell phone number is 717-224-2424. Okay, their home phone is 717-386-3636. Okay, and this can go pretty quickly. So the way that it sounds like this. So I'm speaking with John Smith. He and his wife, Kim, own a home at 123 Main Street, and that's in Mechanicsburg, 17055. Go slow like that too. Let them write it down. Okay, the cell phone number is 717-221-2121. That's the number you're going to call. And the home phone number is 717-386-3636. Now, there's 10 windows here that are 20 years old, and they're having issues with drafts. They're hard to open and close, and they're not energy efficient. Okay, I'm going to go through the rest of the scripting after, but that's the scripting. That's the scripting as we get into the conversation. Okay. All right, then step 3, events rep lets the homeowner know we'll be calling them back directly once their information is entered into the system. That step actually should probably come right before step 1. Okay, so and I'll script that out for you in a minute. I'll show you in a minute. Okay, event rep then completes the warm down with the homeowner. Okay, or the last impression we call with the homeowner. So we're going to give them the information, which I'll script that again. Call center calls the homeowner as soon as the information is entered, and the event rep wraps up with the homeowner. Then the call center sets the appointment with the homeowner. Okay, so the homeowner, the idea is to keep the homeowner there so that they can have the conversation in front of the event rep, in front of you. Okay, and the idea is that if you just say, okay, you can walk to your car, our call center will be calling you, that's going to cancel. They're not going to answer the phone. There's no way that person's going to answer the phone. You have to keep them there, and this is why it's important that we track times too. If you find that the call center is taking too long, then you need to let me know. Or you need to let Jess know. Absolutely. The call center cannot take more than 30 seconds to a minute to do this. If it's taking any longer than that, then you need to let me know. right away, because we cannot have customers standing there awkwardly silent for any period of time. We'll go over tactics to get that person to stay there and to continue the conversation. But ideally, this should not be a problem at all. If it does become a problem, even with those tactics, then that's when you need to communicate with me, because we need to make sure that we take care of this. They should be calling that person within 30 seconds to a minute. No excuses, no reason why not. This is their system. This is the reason why we're doing it. Okay. All right. So after hours, little bit more confusing. Okay. And we got a bunch of phone numbers on there. Now, I don't really want to put, probably see them if you fast forward back, but I don't, I mean, they know I'm putting this information out there, so fine. I'm going to send you this call center information of the people's information. So instead of calling into the call center, okay, so when it's off hours, so let's say, for example, you are at a grocery store here or there or whatever, okay, then you're going to address these people. So instead of calling into the call center, event reps will text a picture of the lead, kind of like we're doing now, to the designated group text, and the first available caller will respond that they received the information. And again, they know they need to be watching this stuff. And again, if you don't get a text back, put me in the group. If you don't get a text back right away, then we have a problem. If you don't get someone says got it right away, I mean within 5 seconds, then we have a problem. And I'm going to be a bug in the you-know-what of the call center if that doesn't happen. Like this was my immediate hang up when we started talking about this process. Was there was a couple hangups I had, but the immediate hang up was, well, if you can't get to the text messages now, then how are you going to do it later? Like, and I got the commitment that, look, it's more people on the text thread. I promise someone will get to it. We'll add incentive to it, so on and so forth. Great, fantastic. We'll add incentive to it then. Fine. If it doesn't happen, then we have a real problem, and I'm going to make sure that I address that right away, and not in the nicest way. Like, I mean, I get frustrated just like you do. I get frustrated, trust me, of getting the 30 calls a day that I get or whatever about leads and about issues and stuff like that. So I promise you that if this doesn't go the way that it needs to go, then we will deal with it. We will deal with it in the most effective way. If I have to go in and start throwing chairs, and that's what's going to happen. Step 2, after entering the information to enable the call center, will immediately call the homeowner to set up the appointment. If the leads are solidly set, they will not require an additional confirmation call. So they're gonna I guess talk the call, because it won't be on recording at that point. But that's good, because they won't need any. They're basically training these reps to do the confirmation process with the customer if it's within the 48-hour window. So that still remains. The 48-hour window still remains, but if it's within the 48-hour window, it's not going to require any more confirmation calls, which is good. That's what we need too. We can't have these people being called back several times, which was another hang up that I had. Okay. So again, just kind of roll through that part again. You'll send it. I'll go through the scripting in a second, but you'll send a picture over to this group chat. Someone needs to respond within a second that they got the information. They'll enter that information right away, and they'll call. Same process again. If it takes them more than 1 minute, then I need you to blow up my phone. Just keep calling me until I answer, because we need to take care of that right away. This is again, okay, fine. You make the system great, then we shouldn't have problems with the system. That's the idea of this. This is a system that they came up with. I like it. I'll go through some of my reservations in a second. I think it's important that we do that too. And then, we'll talk about how to address those reservations as well. But the things I'll be looking for, I'll go through now. So I'm going to go through scripting in a second. My reservations immediately were. Hold on, someone's asking a question now. I just need to make sure that it's not frozen. No, it didn't freeze for anybody else. Okay, well, if you're watching this real time, it just has to froze. That's why I'm pausing. Well, hopefully you got that figured out then. Seth, you got that figured out? Good. All right. So some of my reservations with this, the first reservation was, again, if we had such a difficult experience with the last system and it was relatively similar, then why would we not have a problem with this? And so I know that that's going to be the first thing on some people's minds. The difference is, if we're calling in the information, then it's ringing right to their phones. If they don't answer the phones, then we have a whole separate problem. Look, I'm well aware of the issues that you guys have ran into. I've addressed every single one in the most effective way that I possibly can immediately afterwards. we will find a more effective way. We will get the appropriate people involved if there's an issue past this point, because again, this is not a system that we're creating at this point now. Great, you promised me that we won't have issues, then we better not have issues, right? So that's the whole point. So I understand the reservation of, well, if it didn't work before, why would it work now? Well, it's calling to their phone. If they're not answering the phone, then again, we have a deeper problem that we have to address, right? For after hours, I've been told, okay, we're adding new people to this or whatever. I'm just going to stop the share for 1 second so I can check the amount of people at it because I forget how many it is. Yeah, I mean, it's a significant amount of people. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We got like 11 people on there. So 11 people plus I'm going to have you add Dawn. I'm going to have you add Brittany. I'm going to have you, oh, Brittany's around here. I'm going to have you add Jeff. He should be on there as well. I'm going to have you add me. I'm going to have you add Andrew. So there should be plenty of people on there. And you should not have a problem at all getting through to somebody. If you do, again, then we have a much deeper problem. So that was my first reservation. Okay. My second reservation, honestly, is okay. And this is something that I can see people thinking too. Well, what does this do to lead quality? If we're not setting the leads at the shows, if we're waiting for them to call back, will a certain segment of customers go, no, I don't want to do that? Or, will they cancel? Well, look, our lead quality sucks. And what do you want me to say? That's the best way to put it. I mean, if you look at our overall lead quality, guys, it's not been where it needs to be at. And part of the reason is because we're setting them ourselves. I mean, we know that when we don't set the leads ourselves, the lead quality goes up. That's the way that it works, right? If we don't set them ourselves, the lead quality goes up. If the call center sets them, typically the lead quality is better for a myriad of different reasons that we don't need to go over right now. If you have any questions about that, then I'll be happy to answer them at 7:30 or if you text me. But the bottom line is that our lead quality has not been fantastic. Pretty much nobody's lead quality has been super fantastic. So this should help with lead quality. Will 1 or 2 leads fall off? Well, yeah, bad appointments might fall off. It should not be any significant amount because we're doing the same exact thing that we were doing before, except for the call center setting. Well, the customer doesn't know the process before. So it's not like the customer is going, oh, this is different. Oh, okay, I can take advantage of this or whatever. If you are getting the customer to stay there, which you should be doing anyways, then you're not going to experience a problem with this. Now, for the people that, and this is another reservation too, there's a certain segment of people that we're not getting the customer to stay there before. Well, you have a problem anyways, and it's never been a good excuse. I've never heard a good excuse. Oh, well, they really, really had to go. Okay, well, you wouldn't have set that then before. On our old system of calling in the leads, you would not have set that appointment. If they really, really had to go and you had to make a 10-minute phone call to the call center, then that appointment would not have been set before anyways. So that problem then therefore should not exist for a system that is drastically shorter by like 10 times. That problem then should not exist, right? So I just need you to remember that. That's not a reservation I have. I have no reservation of customers standing there with us, because if your ability is there to do your job, if you're effective at your job, customers are not going to be walking away during this process. Okay. And if they do, then let's address it. Then we'll sit down and we'll talk about it and we'll make some fixes and whatnot that we need to make. But I don't think that we're going to have a problem where customers are not staying there. If we do have a problem with that, it's because we have not gained enough interest in the customers trying to find a way to cancel the appointment, and that's the way that they're picking. And then from there, we got to figure out what steps we need to take to fix that. Okay. So those were my reservations, and that's how they're being addressed. My other reservation is, specifically for the off-hour times. It's the texting over. We just got to track that. If we're not getting response back from people, then again, that's a problem that we're going to have to address. Okay. I do think it will be beneficial to have your leads put in the system right away. We've had a slight issue with some people, including myself, occasionally, where it's like, okay, I'll enter that in an hour. I'm driving right now, whatever, and then it doesn't get entered. It gets entered on Monday or something like that. The schedule filled up. That stuff shouldn't happen, because if we're calling in the leads, they're getting entered before we call the customer. So that problem should not come up at all. Okay. All right. So I'll ask you again, if you have any questions right now before I get into the scripting, now would be a good time to text me, or to I guess you're not on the live thing here. So text my cell phone if you have any questions right now. I'm about to get into the scripting. I'm going to give you 30 seconds then. Again, 30 seconds to text me any questions that you have before we go through the script. Okay, I think we've given enough time now. Now there is a slight delay. Okay, so as I prepare to go through the scripting for each part here, I'll still wait on questions to come in. And then what I'll ask you to do is, I mean, think about it. If I'm gonna stop looking at my phone here in a second, think about questions as I'm going through the scripting. Okay, or join the Q&A at 7:30. Okay. By the way, if you might notice, my mouth is slightly blue. I had a pop, and I have this Mio. Like, I've had an abundance of blue things over the course of the last like half hour, and so my mouth is currently blue right now. It's kind of weird. I meant to like clean it out before I got on video, but I didn't. So, all right. So, Carson, I appreciate the feedback. All right. So, to get into the scripting of this a little bit, and the way that it will work. Okay, I'm just going to kind of run down, what will change, if anything. Okay, not much is going to change. Okay, you're still going to do everything the way that you would do it. So you're not going to set the appointment, but you're still going to go after the time frame. Okay, so in the close, for example, you're really going after time frame anyways, right? So you're saying, so what works best for you, mornings or afternoons, or evenings? Okay, you're going for the time frame. You're still trying as hard as you can to get a next day. A next day is basically the only set that you'll make. Okay, if the person can't do a next day, then you'll just say, I'll take a note of that. So let's say, for example, I say, so what time of day typically works best for you? Mornings or afternoons? I guess, afternoons typically work best for me, but I ain't going to be able to do it until next week. Okay, sir, I'll make a note of that. And then I just keep going with my system, which I'll get to in a second. Okay, I don't go, oh, okay, so next Tuesday or next Wednesday, or how about Saturday or whatever. Okay, I just say, I'll take a note of that, or I'll take a mental note of that, or whatever. Maybe I write it down or something. The point is just to acknowledge what that person is saying to me. Okay, if the person says, yeah, tomorrow would work great, or sure, yeah, tomorrow evening, I don't think I have anything up or whatever, you'll say, great, I'll take a note of that. You'll move on. But that's what you're going to tell the call center. If the person says next day, if they don't say next day, then don't tell the call center anything. Okay, let the call center work their magic then, because they're very good at getting people to set for sooner. And we know this. We know this from experience. They're very good at getting people to set for sooner. That's their entire job. So they're very, very used to that. Okay. So then we continue through the scripting. Okay. So we go through the warm down, we go through the, at least 90 minutes, whether we need it or not. Great. We go through the everything the same spouse thing and whatnot. Okay, great. Does that time of day typically work good for Mrs. Jones too? Great. I'll make a note of that. Same thing. Okay. The only scripting that might change for some people, if they're setting them at the events currently or whatever, is after you get done with the spouse part. Okay, after you've hammered out, okay, evenings typically work best for my wife too, whatever. Then you're going to say, okay, great. I'm just going to get this information over to my office. It will just take a second. Okay, I'm just going to get this information over to my office. It will just take a second. Okay. Now, again, if it's Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, Saturday, 9 to 3, or Sunday, 10 to 2, okay, then you're going to be calling into the call center number, okay, the 717-591 number, okay? If you don't have that number, I can get it to you. I'll email out this information anyways. I'm going to email out the system anyways with these numbers, and I'll put that one on too, just to make sure that you have it, okay? All right, so it'll be, so you'll call that number, okay? And then the scripting will go like this. All right. Again, very, very simple, but we need to be uniform, guys. I'll send this out too. It's very, very easy, but I'll send it out. We need to be uniform. Remember, when we're working with other departments, uniformity is even more important than it would be if we were just working alone. Okay. So ring, ring, ring. Hi, Renewal by Anderson. Hi, this is Paul Duffy. Okay. And I was giving you a call here from the, BGs in Jonestown. Okay, great. I'm here speaking with Mr. John Smith. He and his wife, Kim, own a home at 123 Main Street. I'm sure it's a beautiful home here in Mechanicsburg. 17050. Okay, great. And the phone number, the cell phone number here is 717-221-2121. Okay, and their home phone number too is 717-386-3142. Okay. Now, John and Nancy, I forget the names I use. John and Nancy have 10 windows that are 20 years old. They also have a patio door that's also 20 years old. Now, the windows are really hard to open and close, and they're not energy efficient. Okay. And they did say that the back door keeps getting stuck as well. So they're having some issues with that. Okay. All right, great. Now, by the way, too, I do want to mention that John did say that for him and Nancy, next day would be good. Tomorrow would work out well. Okay. Usually in the evening. All right, great. Yeah, we'll wait for your call. Thank you so much. Okay, great. Boom. Then we warm down the customer, which we'll get to in a second. Okay. If it's after hours, okay, if it's after hours, it's even easier. Okay, to an extent. Okay, it's even easier. If it's after hours, I say, okay, great. I'm going to get this information over to a confirmer right now. Okay. And then I say that I'm just going to take a picture of this to send it out to them. I take the picture, I send it to that group chat. Okay. That's it. I make sure, confirm that someone says, got it. Great. Then I get going with my next part of my script. I get going with my next part of my system. That's it. Remember, we're waiting for, this is super important, guys. We're waiting for the call center to call that customer in front of us. We're waiting for them to call them in front of us. So again, all this screwy mess, everybody wants to call me about what the call center does. Everyone wants to tell me, oh, the call center did this wrong, and the call center takes 10 minutes with this and 15 minutes with this and so on and so forth, whatever. They want it set to sleep. Do things the right way then. Do things the right way. Don't criticize everybody else for doing things the wrong way if we're not going to do things the right way. The amount of people that I call, I tell you what, most of the customers I call have already walked away from our table, which is not supposed to happen. That's just not supposed to happen. And I've heard every excuse. They're in a hurry. Oh, yeah, they were just in a rush. I mean, most of it has to do with them being in a rush, but I've heard every excuse. So they had to go talk to their husband. Oh, yeah, they just walked away. I don't know. They were bringing groceries back. Well, guys, that wouldn't happen if we were calling the call center and putting them on the phone. Again, if we called corporate and it took 45 minutes on the phone, then the customer would stay there. So we need to get comfortable in our ability to be able to be able to keep the customer there. So here's the thing: is we extend what we do to an extent. Okay. So okay, Mr. Jones, before you go, before they contact you, before you go, okay. And if you just take your phone, they're going to call you in a second. Okay. But before you go, I got a couple things to give you. First, here's this appointment slip. Now I'm going to write down the time when they call you. Okay. Or better yet, here's this appointment slip. Now what I'm going to ask you to do, sir, is to take this. And in a second, they're going to contact you. Just make sure you keep this so you can write down the appointment time. Simple. Okay, simple. And it's just something that you want to give them. Okay, if you don't want to give them that, give them a one of the flyers, the pamphlets, right? But something that you can kill time with and give them. Okay, so you give them one of those things. Sir, I think that this pamphlet here, this could help you out greatly. Okay, and give them that. All right, this goes over our Fibrex material. It's really great read, sir. Gives you something to do. I mean, I was going to say gives you something to do in the toilet. Maybe it's not that. Gives you something to do when you're bored. Okay. Make a joke with them, bud. Okay. And more importantly, sir, I just want to let you know, look, if you don't win the $30,000, we have some great promotions that you can ask our foreman about. Okay. First, the quote's locked in for a full year. Okay. If you've already told them that because you rebutted, like I said earlier, so the quote's locked in for a full year. Okay. And right now we're offering no money down, no interest, and no payments for 12 full months. Okay. In addition to that, sir, we're giving out buy one get one 40% off promotion. Okay. And there's one thing that's most important for you, sir. I have this $500 gift card that I'm going to give to you today. Okay. Now this is just because we really, really appreciate the time that you're giving us. Just something that we're doing for you folks out at the events. Now this is really, really helpful, sir, because it can take off a sizable amount of your job. Okay. So just hold on to that. Okay. Make sure you keep that. Now, sir, before you go, do you have any questions for me? No. Okay, great, sir. Well, look, I hope that you're enjoying your event. Have a great, and then they should call. Okay. That takes about a minute, right? I didn't actually tape that, but let me actually time time that. Okay. And I'm sure there's a way that I can do that. Give me 1 second. I'm sure the iPhone's got a timer, right? I don't know. I'll set my recorder and then that will tell me. Oh, here we go. Stopwatch. There we go. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna stopwatch myself so I can see how long they get. I'm gonna tell the call center this is how long you have. This is how long you have to enter the lead. Okay. All right. So I hang up the phone with the call center. Well, they text me over and they say, I got it. All right, great, sir. They're going to contact you in a second. But before they do that, I just got a couple things I want to give you. First, I have this pamphlet here. This goes over our Fibrex material. Like I said, it's the strongest, or maybe you didn't say it. It's the strongest material in the window industry. It's a combination of wood and vinyl. Has the strengths of both, weaknesses in neither. So I'm just going to hand you that real quick, sir. And then the next thing I have for you is, even more important. So this is a $500 gift card for Windows. It's because I appreciate you taking the time with us today. Now, so this is only good for out here at the events. We're only giving those out here at the events. Okay, takes an additional $500 off your entire job when you decide to do the windows. Okay, and lastly, sir, we are having a lot of promotions right now that you can ask our foreman about. First, we're offering no money down, no interest, and no payments for 1 full year. Okay, for 12 full months, and we're also right now offering buy one get one 40% off. So if you decide to do the job at some point down the line, again the quote's locked in for 1 full year. You have the information set aside. Okay, now do you have any other questions for me, sir? Okay, great. All right, great, sir. Now you enjoy the rest of the event, and they should call by the time there. That's 1 minute. Okay, that's 1 minute and 10 seconds right there. 1 minute and 8 seconds. Now I tried to extend it a little bit. I'm going to send out some. It'll be so much easier if I send out some writing to you. Okay, that goes through these things and whatnot. So I'm going to do that too. Because am I doing it on the fly here a little bit? Yes, I am. I'm trying to make it a little bit longer, slightly longer. But that right there, I was speaking quick, and that right there took me 1 minute and 10 seconds. Okay, 1 minute and 8 seconds, 1 minute 8 seconds, 0.83, whatever that means. Okay, so it takes plenty of time. All right, and that's how long I'm going to tell the call center that they have. I'm going to tell the call center that they have roughly 1 minute. Okay, roughly 60 seconds to enter that lead and call us. If it's taking much longer than that, then we're going to have a problem. Okay, now let's say you had to extend the conversation. Some ways that you could do that. Okay, ask them why they're there. Okay, if it's at an event, ask them why they're there. Ask them if they've ever heard of the Bethesda mission. Okay, ask them if they've or whatever charities we're doing. Okay, ask them if they live in the area. Ask them, before you go, sir. I had a question for you. Is that a Toyota, whatever? Cool. What year is that? I was actually my wife was looking at those. Just wondering. Ask them a question like that. Okay, they're going to be interrupted by the call. That's fine, but keep them there by asking them some sort of incidental question like that. Okay. All right. I'm guessing nobody has any questions. Let me just check my phone one more time. All right. But I'm guessing nobody that's watching this has any questions at this point now. All right. This is it's an easy system to follow. Okay. No, what you should expect now is this. Okay. Is for people that are not watching this right now, or if you can think of any questions, I'm going to do a quick Q&A, quick meeting at 7:30. I'm going to send out that meeting ID to everybody. If you want to jump on and have a little bit of fun because you're bored, feel free to do that. Okay. If you want to ask some questions about this, great. That's fine too. Look, I get bored here in the house alone. I'm usually used to be at the office where I have people and stuff like that, and I don't get to see you guys, and I love seeing you guys. So it'll be a great time for, I'll be able to clean up the blue stuff out of my mouth, which sounds kind of weird. And then I'll be able to get on the screen and be able to talk to you for a little bit. So we can have some fun that way. All right. We can talk about some other stuff that's going on too. Great. Fantastic. But we can go over any questions that you might have. Okay. That's what you should expect. The second thing that you should expect is immediately following that 7:30 meeting, I'm going to send out this. Okay. I'm going to send out a brief scripting for calling into the call center, doing that last impression part. Okay. And I'm going to send out those phone numbers as well, along with the office phone number, just so you can make sure that you have it. Okay. Yeah. If I need your email address, I'll contact you for it. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. I hope that you enjoyed this. I know it was a little bit rocky and whatnot, but I think it went pretty well, right? I think it went pretty well. Give me some feedback if you'd like. All right. I'll look forward to seeing